Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Mohammed Qureshi, aka the Mind Doc. Welcome to my new YouTube channel. Bit of a background on myself. I'm a psychiatrist by profession in the United Kingdom. The first video I'm making is going to be 7 tips to optimize your mental health during the lockdown. If that sounds interesting, let's get cracking with it. So the first tip I'm going to give you is the importance of maintaining a good daily routine and having a structure to your day. Just as you were doing pre-COVID, you were sleeping at a certain time, eating and drinking at a certain time, spending quality time with your family you probably allotted a certain portion of your day for that. And I want you to maintain just the same as you had been doing even now. I am aware that it's quite an abnormal scenario at the moment. You're working from home or you're schooling from home. But nonetheless, I want you to try and maintain as much of a routine as you can. And the work that you're doing from home, or indeed the schoolwork if you're going to school, do it in those same hours that you used to. So between 9 to 3, 9 to 5, around that time. The reason I'm suggesting this is that in this day and age, at this time when there's so much going on around, there's so much unpredictability, a source of stability and consistency can be this daily routine, which is always great for mental health because mental health is often affected by change and we don't want that to happen. So please stick to that daily routine. The second piece of advice I'm going to give you is something that you already know, and that's not to stay glued to the news. At the moment, the news is very anxiety provoking. It's all doom and gloom in the news. The positive stuff is never made mention of in the news, and it can instill you with a lot of fear and worry. So I'd certainly advise steering clear of the news where possible. Of course, at the same time, you have to balance that out. It's important to stay on top of things generally. And so what I do, and I'm going to share that with you, is that I usually just spend 15 minutes to half an hour a day just going through the news and just catching up with things. I don't spend the whole day listening to news because that would be devastating for my mental health, really. And the time of day that I usually listen to the news when I return from work. So I usually just check it up on my phone. And the reason for that is because I don't want to check out the news in the morning because the latest updates might not be there. And if I check it right before bedtime, I'll be worried about it. I want clear thoughts when I go to sleep. And if I'm gonna check the news, I'm gonna be worried about it throughout the night. The third piece of advice I'll give you in terms of optimizing your mental health during this COVID crisis is to make sure you maintain and look after your physical health. There's a very close link between physical health and mental health. So if your mental health is suffering, you're not going to look after your body and your physical health will suffer, and vice versa. If you're not looking after your body and you're putting on lots of weight or losing lots of weight, your mental health's not going to be optimal either. So those two are very closely intertwined. So it's something just to be aware of. The 2 ways I'd advise you to look after your physical health is 1, exercise. Make sure you're maintaining daily exercise, even if it's going for a walk for half an hour a day. Just something to kind of build up your breathing, really. So you should be not panting as such, but you should be breathing a little bit more heavily after a piece of exercise. The other aspect is making sure that you watch your diet, everything in moderation. You don't want to lose too much weight and you don't want to gain too much weight either. And just having that balanced diet. And also making sure that you have your vitamins. Vitamin D particularly is good for your immunity, and drinking plenty of fluids as well. Number 4, this is a very important point. Don't worry about things that are out of your control. You've only got a certain amount of mental energy to work with, and you don't want to drain yourself thinking about things that you have no control over. So for example, in the current crisis, I've spoken to people who are worried about the timeline for a vaccine and when a vaccine is going to come out, and they're very worried about that. And I've spoken to people who, at the beginning of the crisis, when there was a shortage of hospital beds and things of that nature, they were worried about ICU beds, even though they were themselves well. And I don't think it's beneficial in any way to worry about these kind of things. It's just very, very energy sapping. So try and maintain that positive outlook. A little bit of worry at times is useful. So for example, with COVID, you want to worry about your physical health to a certain degree, and that will encourage you to do social distancing. It will encourage you to wear your masks and so on and so forth. So a little bit of worry is okay, but when that worry becomes overbearing, that's when it gets very crippling for an individual, and that's what you have to be consciously aware of. Number 5, and this is an important point, and this is something that I can relate to patients that I've spoken to, patients who ordinarily are quite anxious and low in mood, and actually some of them are doing quite well during this lockdown, and this is the advice that they've given me, is that usually when people are anxious or low in mood, they compare themselves to others and they think that it's all doom and gloom compared to other people, and that comparison itself affects them in a negative manner. But in this case with COVID, everyone knows that they're all in the same boat, and knowing that we're all in the same boat helps maintain that kind of positivity that, you know, we're not alone, we're in it together, and we're going to get out of this together. So that's a very helpful thought process. And also on that note, in this time of negativity and stress, try and fill your life with positivity. There are various things that you can do, various changes that you can make to feel more positive about yourself. For example, you can rekindle a old hobby or activity that you used to do, whether that be artwork or certain dishes that you haven't cooked for a long time. You know, you can start doing that and you can start gaining pleasure from that again. Outside of lockdown, we sometimes get consumed in the race for life. And in competition and in our work life, we get consumed by that. But this might be the perfect time to take a step back and just go back to our roots, try and rediscover things that we had a passion for. You know, you might want to send a gift to somebody as well. That would bring them happiness, and it'll give you a sense of a rewarding sense and a sense of pleasure as well. These are all kinds of things you can do to boost that positivity. Number 6 is to make sure that you stay connected with other people. Obviously, in lockdown, we're just kind of confined to our own immediate family, but there might be extended family or friends that you haven't seen for a long time, and it's important to maintain that contact with them. You know, do your video calls, your phone calls. Make sure that you stay connected. It's really important to speak to others for your mental health. You don't want to be too confined within your own home. You want, you know, as humans, we all seek that interaction with others. But a side point is that if somebody's being very negative, that isn't the best thing for your mental health. So if somebody you're speaking to is all doom and gloom and they're saying, "Oh, this is the worst time ever. How are we going to manage? How are we going to survive this?" Then, you know, that's kind of problematic for your mental health. You need to be aware of when that's happening, and you need to deflect their negativity with positivity. So if they said, "How are we going to manage?" you can tell them, "Well, we've been managing up to this point fine. We're able to, you know, do our groceries, we're able to still function, we're not doing too bad, there's light at the end of the tunnel." So you need to maintain that positivity with others when they're being negative. That's really, really important, otherwise it just saps the energy out of you. The 7th and final point in terms of optimizing your mental health during this COVID lockdown is practicing mindfulness. That's really important. It's about being in the present, it's about being aware of your thoughts, emotions, feelings, sensations. It's almost a kind of meditation, really, and it focuses on the here and now, so you don't have to worry about the future, you don't think about the past. It's just being in the present moment in time. It helps clear your mind. It's very relaxing. I'm probably going to do another video on mindfulness later down the line. That's all, ladies and gentlemen, for this video. I hope you liked it. Please do give me a thumbs up down below, subscribe, and comment below what you might want to see in future videos. But that's all for now. Peace out.